Hello and welcome to another edition of Class of Creativity. Today we're going to draw a circular balance called a mandala, and what you're going to need to start is a triangular template, and I have this 12 by 12 sheet of paper which you can acquire from my room. If you're doing this from home, just get a square piece of paper and make sure the triangle is less than half of the length of whatever paper you choose. But right now we're going to do a 12 by 12 with about a 5-inch. This triangle is about 5 inches. So what you want to do first is you want to cut your triangle out from the template, and you want to make sure that you cut it right on that line. Alright, you don't want to go inside of that line. Even if a little bit of that black line is showing, then you're good, but you definitely don't want to cut on the inside of it. Okay, so what I want you to do is once you get that triangle cut, you're going to place it at the top of your paper and just eyeball the middle. Just kind of do your best on guessing where the center of this paper is, and you want to get it up at the top without actually touching the top of the paper. Give yourself a little bit of room. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to trace this triangle 10 times on this paper. So this is a paper template, so it's going to move if you press into it. So basically what you want to do is just press down and try not to press into the paper. So for your next triangular tracing is you want to make sure that your triangle is right over that line, if not just touching it, just a little bit over. Another thing I'm going to suggest you do is just draw a very light circle. I'm going to draw heavy so you can see it on the video, but just a light circle to know that this is where you should always have the tip of your triangle going into. Alright, so at this point you're just drawing two sides. And notice how I'm dragging that pencil. Okay, so you want to do this all the way around your paper, so you'll end up having something that looks like this. Okay, when you come around and you start tracing, if the last one is a little too small or a little too big of a triangle, don't worry about it. Just put a little X next to it so you know that that's the one you're going to have to kind of improvise when you get to it. Alright, so for starters, now you're going to take your triangle and you're going to draw your own design on it using shapes and lines. You can use objects if you want. Whatever you do in the middle of it is completely up to you, but if your design goes off to the sides of the triangle, for instance, see how this line comes off right here, you want to try to make sure that the other side goes off in the same spot. And I'm going to explain why, because they need to match up when you start tracing them. So as for instance, these down here, just these kind of little curvature lines that are dipping down, they should be going off about the same side of the paper. Okay, once you draw your design out, please get it checked out to be okayed. Once it's okayed, you're gonna go trace over your design with a black marker or a dark marker, purple, blue, brown, red, anything but yellow. Because the reason that we're going to darken this design up is because we want it to show through when we trace this design on here. So now the next step is take your triangle design and you're going to place it underneath that first square. And all you're going to do now at this point, see how you can see it through the paper because we did use this black marker to darken it. So all you're going to do now trace that design onto your paper in one of the pie shapes or rectangular shapes. Okay, so these lines down here, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about making sure they line up. I'm going to move this paper over to the next triangle so we can see okay. So if it doesn't line up exactly, that's okay. What you can do later is just match them up later, the lines that are going to connect from one triangle to the next. You can always just go in, and that's the best thing about being an artist. We can kind of improvise and problem solve when we need to. So as you can see, these two lines are not meeting up exactly, and that's okay. So what I'll do is I'll just make them meet. All right, I'll just kind of force it to come in there and meet up so it's all one connected line. And as far as these go, I'll draw these in first, and I'll show you that they're just a little bit off, but that's okay here. So as you can see, they're not connecting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make them connect. Like so. Okay? So if you run into that trouble, you can just kind of figure it out at the end where you're going to connect all of them. When you're finished with that, so just this simple line and shape design, when it's repeated over and over again, it creates a design that looks like this, which is considered to be a circular balance mandala. All right. Once you get this all put in and traced in to your paper, the next move is going to be to color it. So what I'm going to suggest, strongly suggest, is that you color everything using color pencil and then outline your design using marker. Okay, that's all I have for this video of making a mandala. Have a great day and keep on creating.